Hi, everyone. I am returning to Captain Beefheart today. And this is not my first time listening, obviously, to the band, but the song is a first time. It is called Bill's Corpse. I should say that my first listening experience was a special weekend, and I listened to, I think, Pachuco's Cadaver and Moonlight on Vermont. And it was a funny, interesting kind of, I had no clue what I was getting into experience. I remember that it sounded kind of crazy, but also incredibly humorous. And I was actually a little worried that maybe if I'm not supposed to be taking it so humorously, my response might be upsetting. But I was relieved to find out that many of you said, yes, you have to take him with a grain of salt. You have to experience the music and keep your sense of humor alive in order to really get it. Somehow also, since that weekend in which I first made the association, it's stayed stuck in my mind that somehow Captain Beefheart and Frank Zappa have some things in common because of the humor element and the kind of quirky, off the beaten track, funny way that they approach things, sometimes sounding chaotic unless you really dig into it. So today, let's just see how this song comes across. I understand it's from the same album. Yeah.
Quietly the rain played down our last of ashes.
Quietly the light played down on her lashes. She smiled and twisted.
She smiled and twisted, hideously looking back at what once was
Beautiful, playing naturally, magically. Oh, her ragged hair was shining, red, white, and blue. All in all, the children screaming,
Why, surely, madam, you must be dreaming. You couldn't have done this if you knew what you were doing. Well, the goldfish in the bowl lay upside down, bloating. Full in the sky, and the plains were bleached with white skeletons. Various species grouped together according to their past beliefs. The only way they ever all got together was not in love, but shameful grief.
it's not the way I'd like it to get together. That's not the kind of thoughts I'd like to keep.
The rain played lightly down, down on the form a heap. Oh, lady, look up in time. Oh, lady, look out of love. And you should have us all, or you should have us fall.
Okay. Yes. It fits what I remember. I'm not exactly what to make out of it. I feel like, I remember the first time that I listened to Queen's All Dead, All Dead. I didn't know what the song was about. It was such a moving experience. It's one of the few times that I actually ended up crying on camera, and that's not something that I try to do. So in a way, I feel like this is, I don't know, maybe the flip side of the coin of something like that. Because after I listened to that, and I was kind of broken up by it, Vlad told me it's about a cat, and I'm like, oh, a cat? Here, I wonder. It almost feels like it's about, I don't know, this line, well, the goldfish in the bowl lay upside down bloating. Is this one of the goldfish? Is this a cat? who knocked the goldfish bowl over. I feel like this is somehow about not a human being, but some creature, or maybe even not a creature, maybe an item. I don't know. But it's supposed to be representative of greater things. But at the same time, we don't know if it's talking about greater things directly. A person? Oh, lady, look up in time. Oh, lady, look out of love. This is almost like, is this... how can I say this without being offensive? Is this a statue of Our Lady that is also lying on the ground alongside this broken goldfish bowl? It could almost be something like that, her ragged hair was shining red, white, and blue. I mean, if you go that direction, you start playing with all sorts of ideas of religion and nationality and nationalism and identity and we could get really crazy here, which the music kind of invites us to do, doesn't it? But it doesn't really give us guidance as to, is this just a cricket on the floor, or is this something far more significant? And I guess that's part of the fun of it, isn't it? We have no clue. At least I have no clue. I also find it interesting that the title is Bill's Corpse, but it's all about she and her and oh lady. I'm not sure that Bill is the lady's name. So again, there's a little bit of a question there, and I kind of like it. I like the ambiguity of it. I like it's sort of a feeling of irreverence and daring to handle perhaps ideologies or beliefs that we might hold sacred and untouchable. And now we find them all shattered on the floor with goldfish and other such things. And the description is nothing sacred and nothing reverent about it. And so it allows us to start looking at whatever these beliefs are that we hold so dear and that have been so untouchable to us. It's such a short piece. I want to listen one more time, just to feel it and explore it. I mean, musically, we just have this weird kind of mood setting, scene setting.
Quietly the light laid down on her lashes. She smiled and twisted.
She smiled and twisted, hideously looking back at what once was beautiful.
There's such mockery and cynicism and irony.
Oh, her ragged hair was shining red, white,
even
and
rage
blue.
and disdain that I hear in the
All
voice.
the children screaming.
Why, surely, madam, you must be dreaming. You couldn't have done this if you knew what you were doing.
Right, so she. And then we bring in children screaming. But this, surely, madam, you must be dreaming. You couldn't have done this if you knew what you were doing. It's almost as if this entity, this she, it's her own fault. She did this to get herself down there.
Well, the goldfish in the bowl lay upside down, bloating. Full in the sky, and the plains were bleached with white skeletons. Various species grouped together.
Although, actually, now that I look at this, on the last of the ashes, these aren't necessarily her ashes. I guess the first time I listened to it, I was interpreting it as being her ashes, her lashes, her smile, and hideously looking back at once was beautiful. But I'm not convinced now. As I go listen through it the second time, I'm thinking, oh, maybe no. Maybe Bill's corpse are the ashes, and maybe she is the one responsible for this. Yep, that's a possibility too.
The plains were bleached with white skeletons. Various species grouped together according to their past beliefs.
I love that line. Various species grouped together according to their past beliefs. So good.
White skeletons. Various species grouped together according to their past beliefs.
That's so good.
The only way they ever all got together was not in love but shameful grief.
It's not the way I'd like it to get together.
And who's speaking that
That's
line?
not the kind of thoughts I'd like to keep.
The rain played lightly down, down on the former heap. Oh, lady, look up in time. Oh, lady, look out of love.
Yes,
And
in this line. Again, the first time through, I was thinking that this was speaking to she, who was now ashes. But I don't know. Maybe she's looking down at the ashes. I don't know.
Oh, lady, look up in time. Oh, lady, look out of love. And you should have us all. Oh, you should have us fall.
Yep, I'm thinking I need to rethink my first impression of it. Because the second time through, I feel like she is looking down at the ashes, and she is looking down at this that she's done, whatever it is that she's done. And whoever this voice is that's speaking is telling her to look up and say, well, you could do the same thing to the rest of us if you want. Makes it a little more sinister, doesn't it? I suppose we could take it either way. Although, probably one could argue more strongly for this latter view. I kind of like the first view. And I'm really curious what you get from this. For me, I like the idea of it being a sort of handling and examination and destruction of beliefs and ideologies that perhaps we haven't been willing to look at as we should. And now they're all messed up and scattered and destroyed, grouped together, various species grouped together according to their past beliefs. That's so good. I love it. And it's an invitation to look at the things that we hold sacred. Look at the things that we admire and respect and value. And don't be blind to their faults and follies. And be willing to accept that perhaps they're not as perfect as we thought they were. I like that idea. And I like that my first time listening to this kind of gave me that idea. Even if that's not exactly the message that is meant to be given, that's what I got my first time around. Second time around, I got something different. So this is a good one for that. Let's, I would love to hear what you have to say. And so I'll be listening and reading and watching for your comments. This is another great Captain Beefheart, humorous, irreverent experience. Bill's Corpse, and I'll see you soon.